And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, thank you for making us a part of your day. How's it going over there, Ben? Happy Monday.
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It was a good weekend. No Jazz game over the weekend, so I had a couple of days to spend with the fam. Although, I think, well, let me put it this way: I took my kids to the park on Saturday evening, and it was one of those parks that has leaf, where you can drop off your leaves or whatever. And judging by the giant mountain, everybody did the same thing I did this weekend.
It was warm this weekend. It was a good time to finish up whatever projects you had.
Yeah, we went out there with the rake, and it's great. You know, kids jumping in the leaves is timeless and warms my heart every time for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, we raked the yard. That's what we did. We got everything buttoned up. But I could not believe how many bags of leaves were at this particular park. It was like, wow. Everybody is doing this weekend.
And they've all come down. All the leaves have changed and come down, and it's beautiful. Go to Peach Doors and Windows. Take it in.
Yeah,
take it all in.
Well, so it's funny. My house has a really nice view only in the wintertime.
What does that mean?
My neighbors have trees.
Oh, okay.
That have matured.
Yeah.
And so I have a nice view when the leaves
are gone. Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, right?
Sure.
You wouldn't think of something like that, but like to your point about Peach Doors windows, like maximize where you live. I should turn that whole that whole wall of my house into glass that is also energy efficient.
You should see if Cindy and the good people at Peach Doors and Windows will come and remove the trees of your neighbors. Just while you're at it.
Peachbuildingproducts.com. They do that. They do guerrilla tree ops. Illegal guerrilla tree ops.
They have 5-star ratings for a reason. They go the extra mile.
And when people come to them, they have plausible deniability because they're like, "What? We're a window company. What are you talking about?
What's that wood chipper doing in the back?"
I like that concept though. Illegal tree ops.
Oh, I'm sure it's happened before.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's his name? We revisited that the other day. That poisoned
Alabama.
Yeah, that poisoned the Auburn tree, right?
Yeah. But I'm sure neighbors have cut down each other's trees. It would be hard to buy a house for a view specifically. And like you buy it exactly like you're saying, you buy it in November on a beautiful fall day. Like, this is our dream house. The view is immaculate. And then in the spring, you can't see anything. I'm sure that has led to people illegally cutting down neighbors' trees.
For a variety of reasons, I actually don't hate it. Let me tell you this, because if those trees weren't there, I'd be right up in my neighbor's business 365. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
In the wintertime, I know exactly what my neighbor's habits are.
Okay.
In the summertime, I have no idea. Right. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I can see their lights on or whatever. And if they're going into the backyard in the summer, I have no idea.
Yeah. All right.
So I don't hate it.
Sure.
And no, that doesn't matter. We have stuff to get to. Christian, you doing all right?
Doing excellent.
How are your neighbor's trees? Good?
They got a big one with some leaves.
Okay.
But I just mow over them.
Nice.
Have you noticed that Christian looks a little more fresh today than he does most Mondays?
Oh, what happened?
He had a normal
it's true.
hour post-game show.
He had one game and early post-game show.
Yeah, I got a chance to tune in. I thought he sounded pretty good. Now I've been threatened, so I can't say if I felt differently, but I thought you did a nice job, Christian.
Thanks for listening.
You're welcome. I tuned in. I wanted to get the instant reaction, which is why you should tune in to Christian and Alex and their post-game work, and of course pre-game work too. But in that case, I had an errand to run, Ben, and I'm frankly part of my excuse to run an errand is I wanted to tune in to Christian and see what was the scuttlebutt about the big Cougar loss. And I say big Cougar loss because I refuse to say it's a big Raider win.
Okay, nice win for the Raiders. I thought Baron Morton looked pretty average.
Well, he has a broken leg.
He is playing with a broken leg, and he couldn't hand the ball off without limping. So that was tough, but BYU was not really able to punish them. And, that broken leg is not going to heal during the season, so they're going to be dealing with that for a while. And you have to hope, I guess, if you're a Texas Tech fan, that it doesn't get worse. But it made them no worse for wear against BYU, and that was a lopsided game from the opening kick and never really got close. Never felt close, never felt like BYU was competitive in that game. And obviously the defense for Texas Tech was truly dominant. But I was I was uninspired by BYU's offensive effort.
Okay. Let's put a pin in that because I think you're right. I think you're right at the nerve of this particular game. But as far as the Raiders go, they are the Utes.
Uh-huh.
They are. I mean, they want to run the ball and they want to play dominant defense. And if you get behind against them,
you're toast.
You're in real trouble.
Yeah.
Like they are that.
You talked about Utah being a boa constrictor.
Yep.
And that's exactly what Texas Tech was.
That's the Raiders. They're not. They have flaws.
Yeah, they do.
But when they're up by 2 scores or more, you're not going to expose those flaws.
Yeah. They were able to run the ball.
So, I mean, that was true. That was true against Utah. That was true against BYU. And I did think that it's remarkable how similar those 2 games were because they were really similar.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
But I think they were similar for different reasons.
What does that mean?
I don't think Devin Dampier was capable of being aggressive and throwing it downfield.
Okay.
And Utah maybe knew it and then called into it, and then it unraveled eventually in the fourth quarter. I thought with the Cougs, I thought their game plan, and you talk about being uninspired. Let's talk about why. I thought their game plan was remarkably conservative.
Yeah, it was. That was exactly the point.
Remarkably conservative.
Agreed.
And I get it. You don't want the Frosh to lose the game for you. That was something I feel like against Colorado. He's played several games, including a really big one against Utah since then, and proven that I think he's capable of more than just let's limit the Frosh and make sure he doesn't lose the game. Now, that is my opinion, and it's actually beside the point. A conservative game plan is not going to beat Texas Tech regardless of who you are. That's the way to beat the Raiders is you got to be aggressive and throw it all over them.
Yeah, you do.
You're not going to run it against that line. You're not going to slant it against those linebackers. They've got like 2 All-American linebackers. As much as I hate to give the Raiders any credit, like that's the teeth of their team. Utah couldn't loosen the Raiders up, and BYU didn't. And maybe the Bear, you know what? Maybe the Bear isn't capable of it, and he would have thrown the game away. But that's not how BYU lost. I think they lost because I don't think they had a great game plan, honestly. And I thought the defense was pretty good. BYU's defense played well enough to win.
Yeah, you held them to 29 points. I said last week I thought it would be higher scoring. It obviously was not. I did say I thought BYU was going to need to score 30 points to win this game, and that proved to be accurate. But I thought BYU's offense was going to perform better than that, and I actually thought Texas Tech might score a little bit more than 29 points. But yes, to your point, I don't think BYU's defense was necessarily the flaw in this game.
No,
because,
BYU
again,
gave it away 3 times.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
holding the Raiders to 29 when you lose the turnover battle 3-0. Defense wasn't your problem.
No, when it was 13-0 at halftime, I know they didn't have the ball coming out of half, but if you get a quick score, which BYU has proven capable of, it feels like a real game, and they never even got that.
The Utah Raider game, defense wasn't the problem.
No, it was not.
And that's where the games were really remarkably similar. Now, maybe the Bears just not capable of it, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, I guess. I don't know, but they didn't lose the game because of the Bear. They didn't let the Bear lose it.
I agree with that. I do. If you want to be very generous, you could say, well, BYU tried to play a conservative game plan and hoped it would be good enough and didn't want to show all their cards for a potential conference championship game. I think that's probably imagining a little bit too much 4D chess. You have to go out and win games. You have to go out and prove you're good enough to win games. I don't think you can save anything for a hypothetical Big 12 title game a month from now when you still have to win games to actually prove you can get there. You you do control your own destiny, but so does Cincinnati, and you play them. So if Cincinnati beats you, Cincinnati's probably going to the Big 12 title game, and you are not.
The coaches aren't thinking that.
No, they're not. I can't imagine
there's no way. I mean, look at Utah. If Utah would have intentionally lost to Fingernails in the regular season, anticipating that they were going to play against Fingernails in the conference title game, that's crazy.
So I'm with you.
Or the same scenario with Oregon when they beat Oregon twice
in a row, right?
Not in a row. There was a week or two.
Yeah, but it was very close. Yeah. Yes. I to that point, I was surprised BYU was not more aggressive. And honestly, that was the only reason I could think. Was it hubris that they thought they were going to go out and that offensive line was going to push around Texas Tech's front seven? Because nobody's really pushed them around, including Utah.
Okay, I have a theory that is entirely a theory.
Okay.
And if A-Rod heard it, he's probably going to punch his radio, but whatever. Sometimes when it comes to the biggest moments, we go back to what we're comfortable with. And that's part of like our training, our upbringing or whatever.
That's
Ben,
survival instinct.
If you and I have a big show, we'll go back to the roots of what really works for us, and that go back. A-Rod coached under Kyle Whittingham for so long. So long, not just as a coordinator, but also as a position coach. I mean, he reverted to Utah A-Rod in a big game. That's my theory. Because the great part about his story at BYU, Ben, is the kind of the behind-the-scenes scuttlebutt that you heard in his transition from Utah to BYU was he wasn't allowed to coach the way he wanted to coach at Utah. There was the reins were on, which honestly I think is a fair thing to say considering how we've seen Kyle Whittingham interact with offensive coordinators for basically his entire career.
Agreed.
And then he goes to BYU and he coaches Zach Wilson and all these quarterbacks he sent into the NFL and really doing some creative things. And I think coming into his own as a play caller and an offensive coordinator because the reins, quote unquote, were off. But you go in a road game, first top 10 matchup in BYU history, and you're drawing up a game plan. I think he kind of reverted to.
Agreed.
I think he reverted to how he was trained and how he came up. And he won a lot of dang games at Utah. A lot of games at Utah. That was one of your guy, Kyle Gunther's biggest complaints, right? I remember him saying, like, you're going to criticize a guy who's won whatever games as the offensive coordinator at Utah. And Kyle was a little biased because he liked the guy. Because everybody likes the guy, right? So that's my theory. I don't know. What do you think? I think they went to, like, let's draw this thing up conservatively because this is how we beat tough teams. And I just don't think that was the way you were going to beat the Raiders.
I can buy that. I also just think there was just some thought that, hey, we're big and tough and we can match up with you big and tough. And it was just the wrong idea.
Well, nobody thought that. If they thought that, they were the only ones.
But they ran out injured. LJ Martin was their number one option in the first quarter.
Not fair because they don't have anybody else. So if LJ
Well, yeah, they do. They have Chase Roberts and they have JoJo Phillips back apparently. And they have Parker Kingston.
I'm talking about specifically running. Oh, I see. I was misinterpreting your point. I apologize.
No, the idea was, let's run the ball. And I know almost the worst thing, it's the Russell Westbrook 3 that we've talked about. If Russell Westbrook hits a 3 in the first quarter, it's the worst thing that can happen to your team because he thinks he's hot the rest of the game. It flipped where LJ Martin's first run, I think he had 8 yards.
Yeah, pretty good.
Right up the gut. And you thought, we'll go to that all day.
Yeah.
We'll take 8 yards all day when he finished with 35 yards.
Well, that was wrong. And I could have told you that was wrong. And that's why I think it was honestly a game plan issue. And if people want to, argue otherwise, I'm certainly no football savant. But going into that game, Ben, you were saying that they have to score 30 points against Texas Tech to win. And that turned out to be true. And way to pat yourself on the back earlier. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Sitting
on that all weekend.
How are you going to score 30 points against Texas Tech?
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing.
How was that even going to be possible against the best line in college football? And honestly, what's his name? Why am I forgetting? Jacob Rodriguez. That guy is a baller.
Yeah. Well, so is was it Bailey? That kid is also a heck of a player.
Well, he's the outside linebacker, right? The pass rusher. Right. Yeah. Who's terrific.
Yeah.
So you know where those guys aren't? chasing JoJo Phillips down the field or Parker Kingston or whatever. And those guys didn't have particularly good games. So, I'm not saying the Cougs played well, but I don't think they really gave themselves a chance.
Well, Parker Kingston had, how many catches did he have? He had 5 catches for 43 yards. So that's a decent amount of targets. L.J. Martin got a lot out of the backfield, but those are dump-off passes. Those are, where do I go?
No, they were slanting it.
Yeah.
They were slanting it all night.
It's
Or out of the back, we're screening it or all that sort of stuff. It was the dink and dunk type of, and what they needed was to let the bear eat.
Yeah, there was no vertical passing game really as a threat.
No.
So I was
and
surprised.
That's where their advantage is. Their advantage was in the receivers.
What I did say last week that I did not see at all was, I thought maybe they're going to go deep to JoJo Phillips really early, to try and loosen up this Texas Tech defense, because if you don't, the result is going to be 29-7, or what was the 34-10 against Utah. It was the exact same game, like you said, the exact same result. If you can't loosen up that front seven at all, you don't stand a chance. And BYU didn't do it, and I didn't feel like BYU tried to do it.
Well, that's the lesson that General Pickett learned that day there in Pennsylvania. They're like, maybe if we go right at their center, maybe if we go right up the middle.
Yeah.
We've tried the previous 2 days here at Gettysburg, we've tried to ease up the flanks and weren't successful. So maybe.
Have you thought about
maybe if we go right up the middle with all we got.
You're not talking tiny hands.
Maybe that'll work.
No,
I'm talking General George Pickett, I believe is his first name.
Okay.
Pickett's charge, Christian, was a famous maneuver in the Battle of Gettysburg. Although I wasn't alive for that one either. It was a massive, long story short, massive failure. You can look into it, but it didn't go well.
Multiple pickets leading charges in the state of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, unsuccessful.
State of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Anywho, trying to run L.J. Martin right at him. I could have told you that wasn't going to go well.
Well, so I went back and looked at the play. He had 12 yards. It was the second play of the game. He had 12 yards. You thought, okay, BYU's going to be fine. And that was a third of his yards for the game.
So, of course, there's more to the story. And
it's not that simple.
If A-Rod were sitting in this room, he would explain exactly what logic went into his game plan. I'm sure it would make a ton of sense. But watching it play out on the field, I think the reason they lost is because they weren't more aggressive.
And if Chase Roberts or Parker Kingston or JoJo Phillips or Carson Ryan or whoever was open, I think Bear would have gotten him the ball. I think a lot of the credit belongs to Texas Tech.
Oh, heck no. The Raiders stink. Flawed team. Flawed team.
Well, nobody's perfect. I don't think anyone's perfect in college football. Maybe Ohio State's close.
Just neither local school decided to throw against them, and both local schools lost. I think, honestly, it comes down to that in both those games. I think BYU and Utah were more than capable to win those games, but they didn't exploit the Raiders where they're weak. How do you think the Raiders are going to do against Ohio State? You get their doors blown off.
Probably. You get a couple of big receivers like Ohio State has, and you can pick them apart that way.
Because old shoe polish Beard is going to go out there and throw it all over them.
Yeah. I do think that's going to be the approach other teams take. I don't think Utah can. I don't think BYU did. I think BYU can do that. Not to the level of Ohio State, but I think BYU can move the ball through the air, and I, too, was surprised they didn't.
Do you think Blackbeard dyed his beard toward the end?
What do you think they would use? Like squid ink out there on the ocean?
I honestly don't know.
Huh.
But I'm thinking Ryan Day's like 50.
Coal.
And
it was smoke, like smoke bombs.
Well, he did have those in his beard, when they boarded ships. It was intimidation kind of thing.
Yeah. Tie him in there.
But I wonder,
through the beard.
like if you're going to have a reputation for a jet black beard, don't you have to come across that thing naturally? Doesn't it have to be natural?
It'd be weird. Because you probably didn't see pirates all that often. You'd probably only see them like every 3 or 4 years when they came to town, and you'd be like, Blackbeard's going gray.
Yeah.
May not have it anymore.
Right. That's a great point. So I'd find the squid ink, I guess. Is that the case with Ryan Day?
I think so.
It's like my team's not going to take me seriously unless I've got a nipple ring and jet black beard. Whatever he's doing is working. Number 1 team in the country.
Yeah. He's figured it out.
Coach Witt. No, I'm not going to make that joke. You imagine?
No,
All
I
right.
cannot.
Stay tuned. More next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.